So far we have assumed that our product is readily available. That's why the consumers, they were moving directly from the potential user state to the user state. And in this video we are going to make our model more realistic, and we are going to add uh, another state between the potential user and the user state, and this state would reflect the effect of delivery time in our model. So the first thing is the disclaimer about the software and the material. So we are going to add product delivery time. So our model so far has assumed the product is readily available. Now we are going to make it more realistic, and for this we are going to add another state, and we will name this state as wants to buy state. Now this state, basically, it will be between the potential user and the user state. So we had initially had we had these two states. So what will happen that when the potential user, when they will see ads and through the word of mouth, they will decide to purchase the product. So when they will decide to purchase the product, they will add in this state, that is wants to buy. So once they are in this wants to buy state, what will happen, they will buy the product, and they will purchase it. And let's say the purchasing will be a timeout decision, that means this transition will be triggered by the time. So let's now keep the time to get the product is 2 days. So after 2 days they will shift from the wants to buy to the user state. And the after, let's say, 6 months, when the product life finishes, the user will go back to the want to buy state. So in this way we can add some more realism to our market simulation model. So let me just clear it. So for doing this, we already have two states, potential user and the user state. So the steps for doing this are, I'm going to show you the steps. So we will make some space between the potential user and the user state. We will disconnect the transitions. We will add another state, want to buy, and then we will, as done before, we will add some entry action. What happens when the consumers enter from the potential user to user state, we will add a entry action, and then we'll add a transition from wants to buy to user state, and we'll call it purchase, and it will be triggered by timeout. So, and then we'll also add some statistics to in the consumer, and then we will display them in the graph. So let's see how this thing is done in AnyLogic. I'll switch to the AnyLogic view. So I've already opened the market phase 7 model here, and uh, in this video we are going to add delivery time. So I'll just copy these instructions and I'll open the consumer diagram here. This is the diagram that we made in our last videos, couple of videos. So I'll just copy them here, instructions. So the instruction says that make way between, make a gap between the, make space between the potential user and the user. So we already have some space here. Let's say we just move it more, let's say, okay, and then disconnect the transitions. So I'll just disconnect them. So you have to notice one thing here, that when we disconnect a transition from a state, the arrows, they turn red. These red arrows show that these transitions are not proper. Now I'll also disconnect this transition, and right now let's put it like this just for the beautification purposes, just trying. Okay, now go to the palette, and then you have the state chart library shown by this yellow box. Here, drag the state and drag it here. So I'm going to drag it here, just make it a little big. And one thing more, you can see that I've joined it with these two transitions, and I will also join the disconnected discard transition to here. So going back to the steps, make a space between the potential user, already done. Disconnect the transitions, already done. Add another state, name it wants to buy. So click on this state, and on the right hand side are the properties. Name it as wants to buy, and then show name, the default color is gold. And again we will add an entry action here. The purpose is to identify the different agents that are going through in our simulation, from the potential user to now wants to buy and now to the user. So we will use the shape body function, that is shape body dot set fill color, and the color is gold. So done. So if I press build model now, so it will give me the error. Why? Because it is saying that user cannot be resolved and the element is not reachable. So like, because the states are not connected, so that's why it's giving us the error. Now we will add another transition from the wants to buy to the user state, and this transition we will call it as purchase, and we will show its name, and it is triggered by the timeout, and the timeout is the 2 days. That means it will take 2 days for the custom consumers who are in a want to buy state to get the product and move towards the wants to buy state. So let's check it again. So you see the model is built successfully. Now we don't have any errors. So we have modified the state chart. So our state chart work is done. Now go back to the main menu, and here we will add, okay, now because discussed it repeatedly, we need to delete these pictures from the consumer diagram. So we go back to the main. Now it says the last step number 6, add the statistics. So we will select this consumer diagram in the main, and on the right hand side we will see the properties. So here these are the statistics to the already add to the consumer. We will add another statistic, so I'll just duplicate it. Now I have another statistic here. So end potential and end user were the statistics that we added in our previous video. So we are going to add here another static, and that static is and want to buy. That is the number of consumers who want to buy the product, and this is a count function, and we are going to count it by the agent dot in state, that is the agents that are in state, and these are the consumer population. And here we will add here not potential user, rather the state we just defined, and that state is wants to buy. Press F7, and you see that there are no errors here. So we have added a statistic to consumer. Now click on the chart. This is our chart. So if you click on the chart, and you can add here another data to be displayed on the chart. So press plus sign here. So this data is basically we want to display here the people who want to buy. Okay, so we are going to add, let's say, let's call it just want to buy. So I'll just copy it from the chart and from the data item above, and I'll paste the here. And what we are counting, what we are displaying, consumers dot, and we just defined a statistic and want to buy. So just remember the fine details here. The state was wants to buy. If you can see in the consumer diagram, the statistic we defined here was an number want to buy. So that's why in the chart we are adding here the title. It makes no difference, you can write it in any way what pleases you. The value, it is coming from consumers dot and want to buy, and we are keeping the color of gold that we uh, chose for the state. So I'll just move this data item to second number. So at the top we have users, and then we have want to buy, and then we have the potential user. So that's all for the work to be done in the main and the consumer diagram. Let's run the simulation. So this is our simulation. So just run it in the fastest speed possible, and you can see now alongside this greenish user curve, a yellowish line is appearing, which is showing the consumers who are in the want to buy state. So this graph is different as compared to the graph that we obtained earlier. So now our simulation is getting realistic step by step. We started with the advertisements and then added word of mouth, that the we added the product delivery we have just added here, and in the last video we added the product discard. So this is the complete simulation. So let's see what is the effect of this thing in our market saturation. So you can see this was the only word of mouth product discard and advertisement. Here we have added another thing, that is the delivery time. So this is our graph. So that's all for this lecture. In this part we discussed how the delivery time can be added to the model. Now another very important aspect is the consumer impatience. That is, if the delivery time it gets more than the expected time, the consumer might get impatient, and then they might drop the idea of purchasing the product. So we'll discuss this aspect in the next video. Till then, stay tuned. Bye.